Hello. Yeah, apparently I'm having to stay here this weekend due to some things I will not explain. But okay, just a heads up. This may or may not be the last time I do a stream right here, but hopefully I'll keep you guys updated in some comments. But for now, we'll start continue. Okay, we'll get started about right now. QVC on 9/11. Okay, starting off with a somewhat dark one. Now, QVC is an American free-to-air shopping channel, and on September 11th, 2001, it was in the middle of airing live programming when the 7th attacks occurred. And with their increasing seriousness and scale, they eventually led to abandonment and temporary suspension of the network programming during the airing of Denham and Company a few hours after the attacks begun. It's notable for being one of the only American non-news channels that was airing live at the time of the attack. This resulted in some of the earliest entertainment to be affected and one of the few live non-news programs to be interrupted by the attacks. Live broadcasts and eventual suspension of programming that occurred during the attacks have never resurfaced online, with only video captures of later suspension slides being known to exist. It's definitely possible someone could have recorded it, but the chances of that happening are slim to none. Okay, next is a double whammy. Rescue 911 Episode 8. We'll move on to the next one after this. Rescue 911 was a docudrama series that aired on CBS from 1989 to 1996. Episodes typically ran an hour long and contained several stories of emergency issues that often involved calls to 911, hence the title. Reruns continue to air in syndication on Pluto TV as of today, but the syndicated episodes have been edited to 30 minutes and omit many of the stories that aired in the original's run, including the entire 7th season, which we'll get to right after this. Almost all the lost stories of seasons 1 to 6 have resurfaced, but only one is still missing. The missing story, this one was aired on season 2, episode 8, which aired on November 30th, 1990. In the episode, an Oregon man discovers his infant son's bedroom is on fire, and he must break through the 2 windows to save him. According to a viewer who seemingly references the story, the fire was caused by an electrical cord in the child's room. Reruns of the episode omitted this story and showed a repeated story from season 1 in its place, in which a woman is trapped in her smoke-filled house after her TV catches fire. The episode contained 3 other stories, all of which have been found. Those being a paramedic hit by a race car while tending to an injured driver during the 1990 Daytona ARCA 200, a boy calling 911 when he awakens to hear his mother struggling with an intruder, and a 2-year-old girl taking her great-grandmother's heart medication. The segment about the bedroom fire has not been seen. But surprisingly, it doesn't seem to be anything controversial, though. Now, next for season 7. The remaining the 7th season was never put into syndication on Pluto TV, meaning that the episodes only aired once or twice back in 1996 and were never shown again. Of this, now most of the accounted for with a total of for 5 segments being lost. First of the notable ones. Season 7, episode 8 has all but the first segment available online. Season 7, episode 9 has the second and fourth segments lost. Season 7, episode 10 has only the last three segments available in full. And there's a partial English version available, but the episode is available in full, albeit in only Portuguese. And finally, season 7, episode 14. Only the last 3 are available, with the first one being completely missing. Meaning only people that recorded the show back when it aired would have the only chance of finding these segments. Roy Weaver III death footage. Anyway, on February 8th of 2004, during lap 9 of the 2004 iPower Dash 150 at the Daytona International Speedway, a crash involving Billy Clevenger and Tony Billings occurred. As the race was under caution, track marshal Roy Weaver III entered the circuit to assist in the clear-up efforts. However, he did so as Ray Paporta approached, with Paporta unable to avoid a collision with Weaver at around 100 miles per hour. This impact resulted in Weaver being killed instantly, and it's known that the footage of the fatal accident and its aftermath were captured on a trackside camera. Footage of the race it was in is available. However, the broadcast team decided not to provide additional coverage of the race following the red flag, meaning no footage outside of some B-roll clips exists of the race second half. It's extremely likely that the footage will ever see the light of day, and maybe that's for the best. RuneScape. RuneScape is a massive multiplayer as an MMORPG developed by Jagex Limited that was originally released in 2001 as a browser game made in Java. While it can be played for free, players can subscribe to become members, allowing access to far more content. The premise is that the players create a character within a fantasy medieval world. They can explore the world, battle monsters or other players, complete quests, or take part in minigames. It grew to become one of the most popular online games and still enjoys an average player count that exceeds 100,000. The game has gone through several continuously weekly updates throughout its 20-year history. Despite these, making the game entirely recognizable from the original. Despite these rapid changes, the developers did not make any systemic backups or include any version of control until early 2012. There are too many versions for me to list, but the Lost Media Wiki has a list of what? There are many found, but it's nowhere near half of the full thing. Many are still lost, and it's unlikely all will see the light of day. Sakasaba Bane. This is a one-shot manga written by and illustrated by independent Japanese manga artist Sho Shibamoto that was first released in 2007 and it's notable for featuring being the first appearance of the Sky Golems, a race of near indestructible creatures bent on world annihilation who serve as recurring antagonists on much of Shibamoto's subsequent work. So, and apparently this is also Christmas themed, so yeah. There's very little, the full plot is difficult to determine. Only a few panels of the manga exist, and it's unknown if the masses will ever get to read the full thing. Serious music video. Serious is a song by Serious was a song by popular by artist Gwen Stefani, who was the lead vocalist for the American rock ska band No Doubt. And who is an artist also known famously for songs such as Hollaback Girl and The Sweet Escape. This song debuted on the popular album, Love Angel Music Baby. Now Sirius did have an accompanying music video, but was never released. The music video is said to feature a heavy throwback and influence to 80s dance music videos. The only thing that has surfaced is a low quality 1 minute and clip, and this is the only video available. It's unknown why the music video never got released, and it's unknown if Stefani herself would be open to release the music video herself. SM City North EDSA. This was a Filipino shopping mall regarded as the first SM supermall in the country and the 11th largest shopping mall in the world. In the 90s, a commercial was made advertising the mall. The commercial starts with this. A card with its side mirror getting lower, which was shown, then a female voice asking, where are you going, my dear? Then a male person said, I'm on my way to SM City. With the car's engine turning on, arriving in the middle, a guy shouts, wow, with the scenes of food, eating at a food court, shoppers at a department store, and fun inside an arcade with a dancing mascot and kids, and movies, people watching a movie at the cinema. Like in Maskman, like back, say, a lady got shocked or startled, and then the car appeared on the cinema screen. A girl holding a popcorn looked around, and the scenery of SM City North was shown alongside with the jingle. There's nothing like SM City, with a guy ending the ad with, it's waiting for you. It was praised for its CGI depiction of the mall, and it's the only commercial of the said mall at the time. In 1993, a slightly revised version was made by adding now open City Cebu at the end. This is said to have lasted until 1994. It aired during Family Cuarto o Cajon, which is a sponsor of the show, and is known that this commercial aired in every gap. It's also aired alongside other sponsors' commercials of this, along with Promac Karaoke. And it's unknown if it aired on other channels or programs, but eyewitnesses claim they saw it from the late 80s to 2000s and was also played at the cinemas of the said mall. The commercial resurfaced on March 3rd of this year by Facebook user View on the Third Jojo Balon, with the revised version yet to see the light of day. Soldem Famicom port. Soldem is a falling puzzle block game for arcade released by July 1992. There were plans to release a Famicom port in July of 1993, but it was never released. partially because it was time to move the console to Super Famicom. Now, here's the a prototype ROM was shown for the first time at the Jaleco exhibition in 2016, organized by City Connection, which owns Jaleco's intellectual property, allowing visitors to play the game in person. And in November of the following year, Soldum was also displayed at a Princess Cafe, a Japanese cafe chain that has been collaborating with various media contents for a limited time in Akihabara. And in May of 2017, a soundtrack CD remake for this Soldum Bloom Decoration was also released, which also included music from the Famicom version. All songs have been found. It seems to have been revised. And here's an announcement. In June of 2019, City Connection President Nobuhiro Yoshikawa tweeted that them and another unreleased Famicom game, Okami Tachi no Yabo, or The Ambition of Wolves, would be available for release. In August of that same year, they announced the ROM Cassette Collection, a collection of Famicom games for the Switch. Then on December 12th, its first volume, which included the Ninja Jajamaru-kun series for Famicom. Soldum was said to be included in the second volume for the Jaleco collection, but no release date has been announced. But yeah, hopefully this does get. Hopefully the release is soon. SpongeBob's Nicktoons Summer Splash Lost Bumpers. SpongeBob's Nicktoons Summer Splash was a programming block that ran from July 3rd to September 1st, 2000, and June 18th to August 31st, 2001 on Nickelodeon, running for 3 hours, which changed during the last week on the block to reran for 6 hours. It's nostalgic for a lot of people as it aired a lot of fan favorite cartoons like Rugrats and Hey Arnold. Some might are believed to have been confused it with the Nicktoons Summer Beach House, which was a similar concept following. Of these, basically, only the ones featuring pretty much featuring Rugrats, and a few others have been found. The only thing that's believed to have been completely lost is a hat with of Squidward wearing his toboggan from the also previously lost Astrology with Squidward shorts. Strange Kentucky people. In his 2007 biography, A Lion's Tale Around the World in Spandex, professional wrestler Chris Jericho discussed his time working in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. During a show in Paintsville, Kentucky, Jericho received a videotape from a female fan which he claimed contained all of his SMW matches. It contained a bizarre tribute to him, with the tape now commonly referred to as a Strange Kentucky People. This tape has never seen the light of day. There was plans to upload it in 2011, but that never happened. Superfan: The Story of Vladimir. Okay, this one is a fairly recent one. Superfan: The Story of Vladimir was an unreleased WWE documentary originally set for release in mid-2021. It documented Vladimir Abuzaid, who became famous for his dedication and influence as a major fan of professional wrestling. After often being in the front row of many WWF/WWE shows. While the trailer was showcased and a release date announced, the documentary never aired on the WWE or any other television or streaming service, though it's never been stated why. 2 years later, it was reported that the documentary was shelved indefinitely. The only thing that has surfaced of the documentary is its trailer, which is still available on WWE's YouTube channel. It's unknown if the WWE would still be open to release it, so don't hold your breath. Dick. On May 15th, 22nd, 1959, NBC, in collaboration between the American Cancer Society and the Education, Television, and Research Center, released the first episode of Tactic, a public service series with the purpose of breaking down the taboo on public discussion of cancer. The episode included director Alfred Hitchcock and future Star Trek actor William Shatner as guests. While the first episode can be viewed at the Paley Center for Media in New York, it's unknown if any other copies are available elsewhere, and the episode cannot be viewed outside of it. There were 5 others, and there's not much information about them. According to film historians Elaine Kurzonkoff and Charles Barr in their book, Hitchcock Lost and Found: The Forgotten Film, the show was filmed live and then kinescoped. So there is a possibility that the other 5 episodes were never served after its first broadcast. Only 2 clips are available. One being one was a fragment shown of the first episode included in the 2011 documentary Pink Ribbons Incorporated, and a fragment featuring Alfred Hitchcock thanking Shatner and Diane Van Der Vils for their performances. But that's all. Thailand 3-2 Indonesia. On August 31st, 1998, Thailand and Indonesia played a 1998 Tiger Cup Group A game at the Chong Yat Stadium in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Occurring in front of 5,000, the game became one of the most controversial in Tiger Cup history after both sides deliberately played poorly so they could avoid facing Vietnam in the semifinals. This culminated in Indonesia's Mursyid infamously scoring an own goal in added time to force a 3-2 Thailand victory. And it's likely gone mostly lost due to the controversy. All that's available is are footage of all of the 5 goals, of a YouTube channel called Focus reporting on the match, and a video showing some highlights. But that's it. The Archie Comedy Hour song segments. The Archie comics are mostly known today for the adaptation on CW Riverdale. The furthest adaptation, as far as I'm aware, the Archie Comedy Hour. Or wait, no, the second one, produced by Filmation, debuting on CBS during the fall of 1969 and ending its run in early 1970. It was also notable for being the first televised appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, who later spawned her own successful sitcom in the 1990s. It was also notable for featuring segments for 2 top 10 singles of the band, Jingle Jangle and Sugar Sugar, the latter being the name to the #1 song of 1969. The series introduced all new material and show styles to the pre-existing Archie formula, such as sideshow segments, as well as reruns of The Archie Show near the end of each program. There were 17 segments. These are the most desired. And of these, only the ones featuring Sugar Sugar, Jingle Jangle, Get on the Line, and You Know I Love You have been found. The other 14, I mean 13 are called Melody Hill, Hot Dog, Bicycles, Roller Skates, and You, Inside Out, Upside Down. When everything's all right, she's putting me through changes. Whoopie tie IA, Nursery Rhyme, Senorita Rita, Look Before You Leap, Sugar and Spice, Your Archie's Party, and Who's Your Baby. It's unlikely all will see the light of day as it's because they're well, moving on. The core. The core was a homebrew game released for a game for the Atari 2600 by Paul Alswood, and was in development from the late 90s to early 2000s. It was almost completed, but a flood caused the hard drive of the game to get lost. A year before the flood, development of the game was slowing down because of a lot of inconveniences had happened to Oswald. He said in an email, "I have all I have also had a lot of weird things happen over the last few months. For example, our cat peed in our dryer earlier this week, and I spent the first part of this week taking apart the dryer and washing it out with bleach. Also, in the last 2 weeks, both of my children fell down and cut their head open." Oswald thought about remaking the core, but that never happened, and likely never will. And here's the gameplay. Two players move around a circular track, and one of them has to deflect a ball on their side, essentially making a more circular game version of Pong. The only thing that has surfaced of the game is a single screenshot found by an Atari Age forum user named Propane13. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Leisure World California segment. Everybody knows the show, The Daily Show, which is it was late night talk satire program that premiered on Comedy Central in 1996, and it over many years and rather impressively given its sometimes controversial name. But only one segment is confirmed to remain unreleased. While the date was not known, and while the date isn't known, the show was hosted by Craig Kilborn until the end. And then this is referring to a show from Jon Stewart. But currently, it's now hosted by comedian Trevor Noah. During a panel at the Paley Center for Media in 2008, Stephen Colbert said they had filmed a segment at the historic Leisure World retirement community in Seal Beach, California, which had first opened in '62. Now, according to Colbert, his idea was to draw a comedic parallel between this situation and Nazi Germany's pre-war claims on their neighbors. It's never aired, and due to a legal agreement, it's unlikely to be released. However, you can find in the Paley Center for Media Intermedia panel where the segment is discussed on YouTube. This is the only mention of it, by the way. The Fighting Marine. The Fighting Marine was a 1926 drama film serial, and which starred future boxing world heavyweight champion Gene Tunney as Dick Farrington, a reporter who must ensure that Lady Chatfield stays within the confines of mining properties so she can inherit them. It's been declared to be a missing film, although it's unclear as to how it disappeared. No footage of the film has emerged, although a photo depicting Farrington and the supporting characters confronting the superintendent has survived. Further photos can be found in surviving film posters. The Golden Ticket. The Golden Ticket is an opera based on the popular 19 Roald Dahl novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was partially commissioned by Felicity Dahl, his Roald's wife, Heath, and it premiered at the Opera Theater of St. Louis on June 13th, 2010. A full audio recording featuring the Atlanta Opera cast was made in March 2012 and was officially released. And there are several short video clips of the show that were released, but it's unknown if a full recording of any version of the show exists. So until then, we're stuck with what we have. The Huntsman. The Huntsman was a creator-owned comic book that was to be written by Chris Claremont, best known for his defining 16-year run on X-Men as one of the flagship series of the newly founded Image Comics in 1992. Now, this was planned to be made, but it was canceled. No footage of it exists. Now, Huntsman originally first appeared in a Wildcats comic in 1994, so it's unknown what exists of this missing comic. The Joker's Wild unaired pilots. The Joker's Wild was one of the most iconic game. Was a game show that first premiered in 1972 and ended in 1975. And when people think of the word Joker's Wild revival, you would think of the pilot on TBS hosted by Snoop Dogg. However, there was an attempt to bring back the show in 2007, however, a year earlier. But these were never finished. And both pilots have since fell into obscurity. There were two. The host of the first. There were two pilots. The first hosted by Mark Maxwell Smith from Masters of the Maze. And the second pilot was hosted by Alex Cameron, who would later become a host for GSN's 3-hour block GSN Live. Now, what can be seen of the pilots? Well, we have the pilots, 2 screenshots from the Mark Maxwell Smith pilot, and the pilot's machine, and a sizzle reel featuring clips from the Alex Cambert pilot, which was found this year. The Kennedys. The Kennedys was a failed sitcom pilot produced in 2001 for CBS to be an American adaptation of the British comedy The Royal Family. Many viewers doubted that the pilot would be successful, as The Royal Family has many British culture references that seem difficult to adapt to an American audience. Though CBS produced the pilot, they didn't pick it up for a full series and has never resurfaced. It's unknown if the studio still has access to it or if they have plans to release it. Information is scarce on it, and no images or video clips have surfaced, and have a slim chance of ever being that way. The longest, most meaningless movie in the world. This is apparently the longest film ever created at the time of its release in 1970, but has since been surpassed. According to various sources, it lasted for 48 hours, 2 days, and contained no original footage, consisting of only commercials, outtakes, strips of an underdeveloped film, and other similar material. The only known image was that made its way on its line. It shows a woman with a large dinosaur. That's it. It's it's unlikely this film will ever see the light of day. The Lost World Jurassic Park special, updated version. This was a 1998 Sega arcade game that is an updated version of their 1997 hit arcade hit, The Lost World Jurassic Park, obviously based on the eponymous movie. The updated version includes features that were not in the original version due to the huge time constraints placed on the game's developers AM3 in order to get it to release in time for the movie's premiere in the summer of 1997. It features added new features added include stylistic ones, including a new sound system, a new movie theater like cabinet, improved hardware, gun recoil, and more immersive elements like airbursts whenever boss Rex bo- whenever the T Rex boss roared to simulate it. This version has since become lost media, where neither the original or special version has been ported to consoles since. It's very unlikely to see the light of day because of this. The Moldy Peaches Lost Recordings. The Moldy Peaches were an anti folk group formed in New York City in 1994. Most known for their song Anything One Else But You, which is featured in the 2008 film Juno. The Moldy Peaches have quite a few lost recordings, which the lost media. Some of them include X Ray Vision, Moldy Peaches 2000 for the Kids Live 1999, and The Love Boat Live. These have not seen the light of day, as apparently, and several more that we couldn't even be aware of. The Oswald's parody commercial. Oswald was a children's animated show that ran on Nick Jr. back in the early 2000s. It re-aired up to 2013 when it was removed from the Nick Jr. lineup. Somewhere between 2001 and 2003, in order to promote Oswald and another very popular show at the time, The Osbournes, a commercial was made depicting Oswald characters as the Osborne family being dubbed by audio clips from them, including censored swearing. At the end of the commercial, a parody logo was showcased, possibly being named the Oswalds. It is known that Oswald was dubbed over by Ozzy Osbourne and that Weenie was dubbed over by Sherritt. It's unknown if any other characters were showcased. For a long time, it was unknown if this even existed. But someone The ad has been confirmed to exist from a July 2002 news group post. And at an unknown date, popular lost media YouTuber, and this was unknown if it existed, until YouTuber Seeker of the Lost contacted the creator of Oswald. He did, in fact, who confirmed that the commercial does in fact exist. Hopefully, we do get to see this because I really want to see this. It'll be a big day for the lost media community. Whew. The Simpsons Game 2. The Simpsons game is a 2007 platform game developed by EA Redwood Shores and released by EA for various platforms. A sequel entitled The Simpsons Games 2 was known to have been in development but was canceled in 2011. As of today, no build screenshots or footage have surfaced, but considering begins considering in Matt Springens' linked in page once listed design work for a Simpsons 2 prototype, a build likely does exist, but this has not been seen. The Simpsons Hit and Run 2. Here we have another lost canceled game from The Simpsons, this time being a sequel to the ever so popular 2003 game for the GameCube, PS2, Xbox 360, and Windows, Simpsons Hit and Run 2. It was canceled upon EA winning the license for the Simpsons games. From Vivendi Universal. No builds, no images or footage of said builds have surfaced online. But because stated by senior game by the original game's senior game designer Joe McGinn, an early prototype builds of the sequel did exist in development. So yeah. The Venture Brothers Shop and Destroy. The Venture Brothers Shop and Destroy is a flash game based on the season 1 episode of the Venture Brothers Tag Sale You're It. It was supposedly released on December 12, 2005 on the games section of the Adult Swim website, and a bumper to promote it was aired on Adult Swim at an unknown time, which was then found and uploaded to YouTube on January 2022 by YouTuber Blast Processing. It contained 3 screenshots of the game, the splash screen, the character selection screen, and a screen represent gameplay. It's unknown when the game was shut down. Though people on some people on a subreddit talked about it, but those are the only screenshots available today. The Wiggles pre-recorded instrumentals. Re-recorded. I've already talked to the Wiggles are a popular Australian band, which I think I know. Releases for older songs being re-recorded can range from use in international versions. And And many of these have resurfaced, though some are still lost. None of they'll resurface in any form. Lost Media Wiki has a list of a ton of them, so yeah, go look at that if you want. The Wizard, 1927 horror film. Wizard is a 1927 horror film loosely based on the 1911 novel Balau, and is known for being one of the most sought after lost silent films along with London After Midnight, and served as an inspiration for the 1942 horror film Dr. Renault's Secret. The film's about a professor named Paul Coriolis, whose son was convicted and sentenced to death at the gallows for a murder he didn't commit. He then seeks revenge by creating an ape-like creature named Bahu to kill his adversaries. Catching the attention of a detective named Murphy and a newspaper reporter named Stanley Gordon, they both investigate and save two intended victims from being Judge Webster and his daughter for murder. The last known copy to exist was destroyed in a fire in Fox's vault in 1931, and no other copies have been found, though lobby cards with still and images have resurfaced. Think desktop screenmates. Screenmates were desktop toy BDAs or branded desktop applications made for mostly for the brands of media entertainment and retail in order to promote them. They included features to play around with, such as adding characters to the desktop, streaming clips, playing music, arranging dates, showing news related to the brand. Most of them, now, a couple have been archived, the full ones being Ice Age, Cottonelle, SpongeBob SquarePants, Avatar The Last Airbender, and The Fairly Odd Parents. And some of the others, like Family Guy, The Ant Bully, and American Dad, have only been partially found. The rest remain lost. Though some screenshots of the missing ones can be seen too. Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends canceled NES port. Thomas the Tank Engine needs no introduction. In 1999, Runecraft was developing a tie-in educational game for the PlayStation titled Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. The game ended up canceled and forgotten about until April 2021, when Dave Vitale, lead artist for the game, discovered the game's assets on an old computer hard drive. The assets were recovered were in-game models of the characters Thomas, Toby, Bertie, and Terrence, along with a few demos testing the game's animation. He stated that the game was canceled early on and production didn't get very far. Tully then uploaded a few screenshots of the test demo and the models online, along with a production book with information and sketches on how the game would have played like, but has not uploaded any ROMs or footage of the demos. As of now, no other assets or information on the game have resurfaced. Thunder, 1929 melodrama film. Thunder is an was a 1929 silent melodrama film release, direct distributed by MGM. It was directed by William Nye and starred Lon Chaney in what would be his final silent film role, and his second to last film ever made. It utilized a music score synchronized to the film and an effects track as well, though did not feature any spoken dialogue. Only a half, only the first five, only if around, only about 5 minutes of the movie can be will exist, having been found in the 90s. Of the remaining footage, only a 1 minute long clip has appeared online. The film was likely lost in the 1965 MGM Vault Fire, with other numerous Lon Chaney films such as The Big City and London After Midnight. Though a few promotional images as well as a poster can be found as well as 2 reels of audio tracks. Tiger Child. Tiger Child is a 1970s documentary short film directed by Donald Pruitt. Per the official synopsis, through the use of multi-image compositions and giant full frame shots, Tiger Child expresses a poetic vision of civilization at the dawn of the 1970s, filmed on locations around the world as a travelogue of the human spirit. It was the first film shot in IMAX, a film format developed in Canada in the late 60s and uses a huge screens of 18 by 24 meters and a unique 7 by 15 aspect ratio. No footage of the film exists, and all that we have right now is a promotional image. Little is known about it afterwards. TNA Impact 2. TNA Impact is a professional wrestling game developed and published by Midway Games in September 2008. Based on total nonstop action wrestling, the game proved successful, selling 1.5 million units. Later in 2008, Midway Games announced a sequel to the game with an intended release in 2009, but the game was canceled following Midway Games' bankruptcy. A build was likely made prior to cancellation based on comments by Samoa Joe, but no build has surfaced, and none of the motion capture work that was made for the game has ever been released, and it's unlikely to at this point. Total Distortion, the official strategy guide. Total Distortion is a 1995 CD-ROM game created by Joe Sparks, playing the role of a video producer. Out in an alternate dimension known as the Distortion Dimension, you fight guitar warriors and tape footage of the world to use in your music videos and to sell clients. With the release of the game in 1995, a strategy guide written by Russell DeMarlo was released with it. However, no English copy of the strategy has been spotted or ever mentioned since it was released, and all that's left are advertisements and as well as an image from an expired Japanese auction. Totally Spies pitch trailer. Totally Spies is an animated teenage spy action comedy. That just pretty much keeps giving if you think about it. 6 seasons, a movie, a planned 7th season scheduled for a 2024 release, and a lost sort of pitch pilot. In 1999, show's creators and one of its producers, Stefan Barry, created a pitch set to send it to TV executives, ultimately ending up with ABC Family and Cartoon Network in the U.S. After the show was removed in the flesh, And what the only footage that can be seen is footage from a Fox Kids promo, which shows a different animation style. Well, compared to the final show's anime-like style. No other information was available until in April of 2021, when Twitter user Archive of Alex messaged series creator Stefan Barry, who said he developed it himself while traveling between Paris, LA, and Seoul. It was a trailer with a runtime of 1 minute and a minute and a half, but he has no idea where the pit trailer or its related production material might be found. Transformers IMAX cut. Transformers is a 2007 science action film based on the Hasbro toy line of the same name, the first installment in the live action series. While the original cut was released worldwide in June and July of 2007, an extended IMAX cut, which featured 2 minutes of extra footage, was also released to theaters in 2007. Before this was released, the film's director, Michael Bay, promised he would never release any of the material featured in this cut on home media. Maybe in this world, none of it is even. It was believed that Yoshi Killer 2S had found the IMAX cut, but this ended up being false, as someone on the Lost Media Wiki Discord claimed that to be. Always check to see if what we have and see if the no and have is correct. TSOP 2000 Dr. Freeze cover. TSOP, also known as The Sound of Philadelphia, was a song recorded by MSFSB featuring vocals from the all-female group The 3 Degrees that was used for the music variety program Soul Train. Released as a single in 1974 and became the first theme song from a television show, and was the first disco song to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was titled TSOP as the Soul Train's creator, Don Cornelius, didn't want any references to the show in the song. Began performing well, he regretted not letting MSFB use any references to the show. Although the version of this show it became synonymous with the show, and however, several renditions of the song by other artists like George Duke would be used as the show's theme, including a rendition by Dr. Freeze and Samson entitled TSOP 2000. This version would be used from 1999 until the show was ended in 2006. While the original and other versions have been released or are readily available, this version hasn't. Fans have been wanting to hear the full version of the song since the show ended its run. Episodes using this version are available online, and a 67-second version of the song is surfaced, and it's whether the song will ever see a release is unknown. Tuco sa madre cacao. Also translated to English as Gecko and Madre Cacao, this was a Filipino sci-fi kaiju film released in 1959. It involves a mad scientist who plots to conquer the world and destroy mankind by formulating a serum that can increase the size of an animal. He tested it on a tuco, or gecko, which in turn became a giant reptile. One of the 1950s Filipino films to feature giant monsters. It was said to be reported to be based on a novel by Clodoaldo de Mundo and was serialized in the magazine Hiwaga Comics. The film, according to an eyewitness, the movie was shown on television, which someone described as, quote, after lunchtime movies that no one ever gets to watch. He also described it using a little bit of puppetry and a man in a suit. An eyewitness saw it on GMA7 on a Saturday afternoon television feature present, but no footage of these exists. All that we have are is a print ad and a French magazine, a page about it, along with a screenshot. Uncle Slam and Uncle Slam Vice Squad. This one is funny. Uncle Slam President versus President Boxing was an iPhone boxing game that was released in 2011. Featured the likeness of U.S. presidents taking forth in gentlemen's boxing in locations across the U.S. The game's description from the Uncle Slam website describes the following, saying, quote, "The spirit of patriotism has always been strong in America. The men who have been chosen to lead her throughout the years have embodied this spirit. But the time has now come to determine who among them embodies it the most. Choose your favorite president and fight your way to the top of gentlemen's boxing. The winner will take up the mantle of Uncle Sam and be the custodian of American patriotism for all time." Uncle Slam is a political boxing game for iOS. Using gesture-based fighting, Uncle Slam offers a fun and slightly crazy boxing experience to iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch gamers. The game was available in a couple of years, but as iOS evolved, however, Handelberg Games stopped updating the games to work and their products. The game was last updated in 2013, and the game was taken off, as well as another sequel, Vice Squad, which features vice presidents instead of U.S. presidents. Neither of the games have been found, though the app's icon, as well as several screenshots. And apparently, which concluded people like Gerald Ford and Franklin Pierce, a fight between George W. Bush and Barack Obama, one between from Gerald Ford and JFK, and yeah, some other neat ones, and another screenshot of Al Gore boxing John Calhoun. This is definitely one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. So, yeah. And we're moving that on with another bizarre thing. Waluigi's toenail clipping party. Oh boy. Oh, this is weird. People have already talked about this, like LSSQ and Shy Valley, but also known as Waluigi's Foot Fault, was an official Flash game developed by Nintendo in 2000, was made to promote Mario Tennis for the N64, discovered in a Nintendo Power magazine. Full, full text of the entry on on the promotional website waluigi.com says the following. Mamma mia, it's Waluigi. He's so bad he sold Luigi's underwear on eBay, which is an interesting question. Who bought the stuff? Waluigi.com. He's lean, he's mean, he hates the color green. Yes, with hopes of finally overthrowing Mario's supreme reign as the video game king, Wario has enlisted the help of Waluigi. The big fellow with a smirk and burning hatred of good old Luigi finally shows an ugly mug in Mario Tennis. And to mark the moment, we're giving the purple on his very own website. You can check out www.waluigi.com for all your evil sidekick needs. Photos, secret information, and all the wacky hijinks you could ever desire. We're looking to have online games too, including the Waluigi's Toenail Clipping Party. It seems that everyone's favorite mustachioed mischief maker has let his personal grooming go, and it's up to you to help him. Clip those nails good, and to be sure to aim for the jar, and you'll be left with ragged toe jam all over your hard drive. Ew! No, literally, that's how it ends. No archived version of this game exists, and all that we have is a picture of a preview game found through the Wayback Machine from an old F file. What a dummy. What a Dummy was a sitcom that aired on syndication from 1990 to 1991. It was designed to capitalize on the success of shows such as Alf and Small Wonder, and featured a similar of a typical American family living with a bizarre creature that they have to hide from the rest of the world. This time being the place of a freaking ventriloquist dummy. Despite Buzz, the name of the dummy, who was played by Lauren Freeman, and he rarely played the role given an episode. "24 episodes were produced before the show was canceled. Of these, only episode 4 is available online. The first episode and episode 6 are only partially found, and the rest are lost in their entirety. Wheel 2000. Wheel 2000 was a children's version of the popular game show Wheel of Fortune that aired on both CBS and Game Show Network from 1997 to 1998. It was hosted by actor David Sidoni, who worked on Roundhouse and the previously talked about Being the Sound of Something, a CGI character named Cyber Lucy, voiced by Tamika Ray, and has mostly the same format as Wheel of Fortune, but with a few changes. The contestants can now pick from 3 categories, which was a format Wheel of Fortune later had, but did not have at the time Wheel 2000 aired. The 250 wedge would have, and the various wedges on the wheel were swapped for more quirky ones. The 250 wedge would have various physical challenges attached to it, depending on what episode, and the contestant who landed on the space would do it, and would last 15 to 60 seconds. The show was short-lived, and combined Aaron, some of the show is missing. Only just over half of the show is available today. Only 14 out of the total 24 episodes have been found. Meaning only people that recorded the show would have a chance at finding it. Wheel of Fortune test pilots. As I said, Wheel of Fortune doesn't need any introduction, as it's one of the most iconic game shows of its time. But before the show, that 1975, some pilots were made throughout the early 70s. What have been found? There were 4, as far as I'm aware, there were 4 pilots. Those being the Shopper's Bazaar pilot and 2 others. I believe there's at least 1 more pilot. I could be wrong. If there are more, let me know. Why the Bears Dance on Christmas Eve. Why the Bears Dance on Christmas Eve is an animated Christmas produced by Teletactics and was broadcast on ABC in December of 1977. It ultimately proved to be the only time the film was ever broadcast on television, and sold for as many decades prior. It would be the special would be lost until 2012, when a digital copy of the film was acquired by YouTube user Julio Villarreal, who had remembered seeing the film sole airing as a child and had contacted a character designer for it in order to get a copy. Studio subsequently uploaded this copy online on June 18th of that year in 6 parts, rendering the film as found. Windows XP unlicensed Famicom game. In the late 90s to early 2000s, there was kind of a trend of making bootleg Famicom games that replicates the Windows XP operating system. The ROMs for the 98 and 2000 game have been dumped online, but the 2003 one hasn't. Judging by the screenshots, it looks like you were able to access that are available. It looks like you could have accessed Internet Explorer and Outlook Express, though it's unknown what would happen if you clicked on them. Outside of that, there's very little information. All that exists are screenshots. WWE Brawl. This was a canceled platform fighting game based on W game developed by Blue Tongue Entertainment, Xbox 360, and Wii, before being canceled in 2012, around 6 months to a year before it was expected to be completed. And the game would basically be like wrestling. The game would be canceled in 2012, and according to WWE.com, a multitude of factors, including poor timing, global economic issues, and the intense difficulty of the production. However, WWE may have plans for a future game under the title, as it successfully filed a trademark for it in August of 2021. All that exists is the logo, some concept art, and that's it. X Duck X English dub. This is the 2010 sports comedy French animated series that aired in the early 2000s for a total of 78 episodes with a runtime of 7 minutes. It's about two anthropomorphic ducks named Siax and Geeksta, who are huge extreme sports fans and love to participate in them despite the risks involved. They have their homely human friend Ariel, who are the complete opposite of them, only likes safe sports and takes a liking to fashion. The Ducks often have to compete with their worst enemy, JT Thrash, who often plots revenge on them because he always gets into second place. Episodes of the show's English dub, which aired, was the only English-speaking region to air the show's dub, was on the ABC network in Australia. And found. Some episodes can either be seen in Russian or German. Dubs. 1978 Norton Twin 200. This was the 9th race of the 1978 USAC Championship car season, originally airing on July 15th at the Michigan International Speedway, and would be won by Johnny Rutherford in a McLaren Cosworth, after having led over half of the 100-lap event. So what has actually been found of this one? Well, nothing. No videos as far as I'm aware of. Alapap music video. Eraserheads. This controversial song by Filipino rock band Eraserheads. Alapap, which translates to cloud, is a song from their second album, Circus. It was released in 1994, Senator T and was based on an interpolated earlier English song. And Senator Tito Soto called for the banning in August 1995, as he said the lyrics were about drugs. The band denied the claim and explained the songs about freedom through a letter to Tito Soto. Decades later, Buenda admitted that it was really about drugs. There was a music video that was made, but that was not released. The only footage comes from a little YouTube video, and it's unknown what else if the rest of the music video will be surfaced. Next, there's IROC, more of that. V1. IROC 6 was the sixth of the race, and this is referring to footage of the stock car of the races. The IROC is basically an annual NASCAR event, I believe. No footage of this exists online. Next is IROC XXV, which this one now the stock car, but surfaced, and some of the events uploaded are still missing some other crucial parts. I don't know. I'm not good with talking about racing lost media. Minesweeper flags. Minesweeper Flags is a lost multiplayer game available exclusively via the instant message application Windows Live Messenger, commonly known by its former name of MSN Messenger. It was based upon Minesweeper and involved locating the flags or mines on the map, with the goal of locating more than your opponent, and could be launched by challenging any Live Messenger contact from the message window. The service was in 2013. The service was discontinued, and this game was added at an unknown date in the 2000s. This game is now completely permanently unavailable and lost to time. Though all that exists is a video of it uploaded to YouTube in 2008 and a screenshot. Mortal Kombat Ultra Girls. Mortal Kombat Ultra Girls was a completely 26-episode cartoon series set to air on Cartoon Network or H Max before new management caused it to be shelved with its fate unknown. The show features character designs from YouTube content creator Rebel Taxi. In February 2021, screenshots of the show were posted online, as well as a detailed account of its history from a staff member on Reddit. It's unknown if no full episodes have surfaced, and it's very unlikely to be seen. Pardon the expression, pilots. Sorry, the wiki for this one is messy. Pardon the Expression was a sitcom spin-off of the pop. Pardon the Expression was a spin-off of a sitcom spin-off of the long-running British soap opera Coronation Street, starring Arthur Lowe as Leonard Swindley, and the show ran from two seasons. Hold on. Hold on. Anyway, the show ran for two seasons between 1965 and 1966. Prior to the show's airing, 2 pilots were known to have been filmed. Episodes of Pardon the Expression are publicly available and were also included in a DVD set. Little is known surrounding the pilot episodes. They never aired on television and have been confirmed by Kaleidoscope to no longer exist within TV's archives, meaning that these have probably since been lost forever. Rory the Racing Car Pitch Pilot. Rory the Racing Car is a British stop-motion children's animated series created by David Jenkins that ran from 2007 to 2010 on Channel 5 in the UK. The show is about the racing car Rory and he and his friends Maxie, Sissy, Drifter, and Tin Top, and his 3 human friends, Big Chris, Marcia, and the owner of the track, all taking place at the Silver Hatch racetrack. It's a show I'm pretty sure many of the British people here grew up with. I have no knowledge on the show, just some YouTube things. However, before the show was made, a pilot was made in 2005 to pitch the series to TV executives at the Cannes Film Festival that same year. The characters had different designs, with the most notable ones where Rory's original color was green instead of red, and Maxie was red instead of yellow. Any additional information on the pilot, such as his plot, is currently unknown, and only a few promotional screenshots have surfaced. It's the mechanic Big Chris seems to be looks very similar to the final show. It's unknown if the pilot will ever see the light of day. Robot Wars, Jeremy Clarkson near-death footage. All right, only 4 more to go with this one. About several times. And anyway, during filming for the inaugural series, a malfunctioning robot almost resulted in Clarkson's death. And according to a 2008 blog post made by Guthridge, during day 2 of filming, one of the show's house robots, Dead Metal, was cutting into a defeated competitor with his metal saw when the blade abruptly broke away and flew loose at over 200 miles per hour, ultimately embedding itself in a concrete wall just behind where Clarkson. Thankfully, Jeremy was okay and was not injured. No images or footage have never been released, and it's very unlikely to see the light of day, mainly because of its given context and because of Robot Wars generally distancing itself from Clarkson following his controversies. Sea stories. Sea Stories was an early BBC television talk show broadcast from late 1936 to 1937. The premise involved Commander A.B. Campbell detailing locations and people who he encountered during his time on the waters, including as a naval officer. It would also the first episode will also provide history by the first talk broadcast from the BBC television. It was never recorded and is permanently missing for good. The only thing proving the show's existence are a few Radio Times mentions and a column by Campbell discussing his first appearance on the show in issue 132 of TV Times. Sulzer and Hesse. These were the names of these. Solar and Hesse were two short silent Dutch comedy films released in 1900 and 1906 respectively, and starred drag comedy duo Lion Sulzer and Piet Hesse. Though the duo had been previously popular in stage and starred in the first Dutch film Gestoord en Gellaar, they never made another film after this grant, and no moving images of these performers exist. No footage of this exists online, and really we can have as a visual representation of the forgotten duo. And now we're finally getting to the last one, Sonic Boom 2013. Sonic America on August 10th, 2013 in St. Louis. It was designed for fans of the Sonic video game series to meet other like-minded merchandise and watch a stage represented, featuring new trailers, live performances, and fan comments. An official live stream of the full stage presentation on the event was conducted online by Live Alliance on behalf of Sega. However, recordings of this live stream have become very scarce, with no official VOD available, although there was one for a short time after the stream finished. The only so far makes up a dozen minutes of the 7 hours the stream ran for. And that's it. And that's it. Tier 17's done, and we've made it to Tier 18. But that will be it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and if I don't post another one of these, you'll know why. Thank you for watching, and bye.